What is up, YouTube, and welcome back for another Redstone tutorial. Today we're going to talk about an inverter. I have the most basic inverter you can possibly imagine set up here, and as you can see, although this switch is off, the output is on. This is the very first logic gate that you can build in Minecraft, and from this you can build all sorts of other magical and fantastic inventions. If you remember from last episode, every single object has an on and off state. Now, where things get tricky is the redstone torch's on state is off. So when the torch receives power, it turns off, and thus the input of the power device becomes inverted to an off state. It basically switches it switches whatever source you have to being on to off. You might ask, what possible use could you have for such a simple thing like this? Why would you not just always have things be on when they're on and off when they're off? Well, I have here a simple piston door, but as you can see, the pistons are actually extended while the switch is off. So, to get through this door, I have to turn it on. And the door retracts because the pistons are being turned off. That's one example of how you can use an inverter to make on and off things like that much simpler to understand. Now, going back to the last episode again, you remember how redstone has a range, and after that range it turns off. Well, using inverters you can increase that range like we have here. So the power goes along and then hits an inverter, and then it hits another inverter, and because this distance is shorter than the range, it'll actually refresh the power until it runs out again. You can increase this gap to the maximum redstone range and it'll still work. A tricky thing to remember about inverters, though, is that there's a slight delay between a torch being powered and transmitting power again. So I've set up a couple of them in sequence here, and as I power them, you'll see there's a bit of a delay before that becomes powered and unpowered. Now, although you can also transmit power horizontally, if you remember from last episode, redstone also transmits power upwards. Using this, you can stack redstone vertically far better or more efficient, or whatever you want to call it, than a staircase, as demonstrated last episode. So I'll flip the switch here and you can see the power goes all the way up to the top. And that is the basics of a redstone inverter. We're going to learn how to apply this knowledge of inverting to a simple logic gate known as the AND gate. It's two inverters set up like a vertical relay, however it only goes up one block. And in between there's a powered redstone. And the output is an inverter again. Now, for there to be a positive output, both of these torches will need to be off so that they stop powering this block of redstone, which will then allow this torch to activate. It sounds a little complicated, but I'll just demonstrate here. If I turn on this one, this torch turns off. This torch, however, is still on and powering this redstone, which means this torch cannot transmit power. So if I power the other one, we see that both the torches turn off, allowing power to be transmitted. And of course, don't forget that you can always apply different kinds of inputs, such as buttons or pressure pads, as other options for input. And that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed this episode, why not leave a thumbs up or subscribe? It really helps me out a lot. Also, don't be afraid to let me know what you think down in the comments. See you next time.